After returning to the Wang family as the real young master, I became hated by everyone. Not only did my parents find me an eyesore, I was also bullied and beaten up at school. Even my fiancée, Willow, hated me to the core. She hooked up with the fake young master, just as I was utterly disheartened and about to give up and start over. I was suddenly bound to a show-off system. Amazing, my golden cheat finally arrived. I asked excitedly, "System, is my mission to conquer my wealthy parents, a cold childhood sweetheart, and gain both family and love?" But the system replied blandly, "No, your mission is to rank first in the citywide college entrance exams, learn 6 languages, master all musical instruments, and publish 3 SCI papers before graduating high school." I was speechless. Chapter 1. I am the real young master everyone hates. My parents and sister value the fake young master more. I get bullied and beaten up at school. Just when I was ready to give up and restart my life, I was suddenly bound to a system. A woman's voice rang out. "Congratulations, host, for being bound to the trial version of the show-off system. Finally, a golden finger." I eagerly asked the system, "System, is my mission to conquer my wealthy parents and sister, win over the cold childhood sweetheart, and harvest both family affection and romantic love?" The system's cold voice echoed in my mind. If the system had eyes, I think it would have rolled them. It replied, "What are you even thinking, host? Your mission is obviously this. Rank first in the entire city in the college entrance exam, learn 6 languages, master all traditional and modern musical instruments, publish 3 SCI papers before high school graduation. Side quests include earning a national athlete certificate and winning first place in the National Physics Olympiad." As the system's emotionless, rapid-fire voice continued, I pointed at myself, confused. Me. I was like one of the countless expendable grunts in a Marvel movie. It replied, "Yes, you dot. Initiating phase 1 of the mission, rank first in your class this semester." Before I could react, a black countdown timer began flashing in my mind. Damn it, system, are you insane? Before I could curse it out, the housekeeper called me from downstairs for breakfast and school. I hurried to get dressed and headed downstairs. In the mirror, I saw myself, too skinny, borderline malnourished. My face was dark and gaunt, with huge, sunken eyes that made me look borderline creepy. When I got downstairs, Makoto was already leisurely sipping milk at the breakfast table. He smiled casually and said, "Bro, sleeping in again, huh?" Another voice added, "If you're too slow, we won't wait for you. Get to school on your own." That came from a slim, cold-faced girl adjusting her clothes in the mirror. She tilted her head slightly, her eyes full of disdain and contempt. That girl was my so-called sister, Alicia. I still remember when I had just arrived at the Wang family. Every car ride felt like a public humiliation, compared to the dark and skinny bumpkin I was. Makoto and Alicia, graceful and confident, looked like real siblings. Since it was the nanny car, there were 2 rows of seats in the back. I always sat in the very last row. I'd watch them laugh and joke in front of me. Makoto could tease her freely, but the sound of my books falling would make Alicia frown. I tried to get close to her, just a child, carefully testing the waters. But the moment I spoke a sentence, Alicia's cold and impatient voice cut me off, her eyes rolling. "You don't get it." There was always a thick wall between them and me. The old me would sit silently in the back, listening carefully, trying to find common topics. But now, with the brutal mission from the system, I didn't bother asking for a ride anymore. Instead, I picked up a sandwich from the table, waved my hand, and said, "I'll ride a shared bike. You guys go ahead." To study hard, I needed a strong body. Starting today, I decided to bike 15 kilometers to school every day. With my headphones on, I'd listen to English on the way. As I stepped out the door, I felt a cold, probing gaze fixed on me. I didn't look back. Chapter 2. I clattered my way to school on a shared bike. It was my first time riding one, so I wasn't fast enough. By the time I arrived, I was already late. The teacher didn't like me much, since I was known as one of the worst students, so she made me stand outside the classroom. I pleaded, "Teacher, can I stand inside the classroom? I want to listen to the lesson." She looked at me suspiciously. After all, in her memory, I usually just slept through class, but under my sincere, pleading gaze, she eventually nodded. I quickly entered and stood at the back of the room. It was a Chinese literature class, and though I could barely hear clearly, I tried my best. My pen flew across the page as I took furious notes. Even if I didn't understand everything, I knew that for Chinese, accumulating vocabulary and model answers was key. More notes meant more tools. I knew my reputation among the teachers was terrible, so to build rapport, I not only stared at the teacher intently, but nodded from time to time. "Did you all understand?" the teacher asked. The class was dead silent. Only my voice answered, "Yes, I understood." The teacher froze for a moment and casually said, "Look, even George understood. You all should have, too, right?" The whole class burst out laughing. I didn't care, I just gave a big, honest smile. As the teacher continued lecturing, I kept taking notes until something suddenly interrupted me. A paper ball smacked onto my desk with a plop. I looked up, searching for the culprit, but couldn't find anyone. Then, more and more paper balls started flying at me like hailstones. The system grumbled indignantly. "Host, it's that little brat in the back row throwing them. What a pain in the ass." I wiped my face and located the culprit. A girl sitting in the back row, playing with her hair. Her head slightly tilted as she looked at me. Her features were elegant and cold, undeniably beautiful, and in her sculpted eyes, there was a flicker of annoyance. That was my former fiancée, Willow. The Wang and Liu families had arranged our engagement from childhood. Originally, Willow was engaged to Makoto, but after my return, she became mine by default. She hated me, and so she and Makoto bullied me constantly at school. The original me just endured it all. He was insecure and timid, never dared to confront them. But I'm not him. I need to study, and she keeps disrupting me. So I raised my hand and said, "Teacher, Willow keeps interrupting my studying. She's been throwing paper balls at me." The crumpled balls on the floor were solid evidence. The teacher paused her chalk writing, looked down at the floor with some annoyance, and said, "Let's talk after class." I replied, "She's not studying and still wants to keep me from studying. Maybe she's just afraid I'll surpass her." The moment I finished speaking, the whole class exploded in laughter. The teacher chuckled twice, playing along with the moment. Well, it's not entirely impossible. After all, Willow ranked second to last. Willow's face turned red with anger. She looked like a red-tailed sparrow that had just lost all its feathers. As soon as class ended, she stormed over to my desk. With one shove, she knocked my desk over and stomped on my books, her voice full of arrogance. She declared, "George, don't think I don't know what you're trying to do. Before you came back to the Wang family, you were just a loser. Now you're pretending to be some goody-goody just so I'll fall for you." Her school uniform jacket was unzipped, revealing a white undershirt underneath. She stood in front of me, visibly annoyed, her gaze proud and cold. It was as if she thought the original me being into her was the most natural thing in the world. But I felt nothing for her. Facing her angry outburst, I replied slowly, "If you keep interfering with my studies, I'll pay your father a visit. You're obstructing a high school student who's trying to better himself." Chapter 3. Willow's father was often seen on television, a well-known local politician. The old me was timid and insecure, and like most students, never thought about confronting a classmate by going directly to their parents. The red-tailed sparrow flapped around in fury for a while longer, then stormed off with her tail between her legs. After all, rebellious as she was still just an underage girl. Her father was strict, and she definitely wouldn't want him to know about this. With Willow no longer disturbing me, my school life finally calmed down a bit. I entered full-on grind mode. I even took vocabulary flashcards with me to the bathroom. Lining up for lunch, that was just more time to memorize formulas. Thanks to my efforts, I climbed from dead last in the class to 25th in the first monthly exam. From the bottom of the grade, I made it into the top 400 of the entire school. But it still wasn't enough. The system's mission required me to be number 1 in class this semester. Because my improvement was so dramatic, the homeroom teacher started using me as the classic comeback story. The school even invited me to speak at the post-exam awards assembly to share my study experience. We were required to wear school jackets for the event. When I pulled mine out from under my desk, I found a giant ink stain on the blue and white fabric, ugly and filthy. I didn't even need to guess who did it. I was just about to take it to the teacher and report it. But there wasn't time. They rushed me onto the stage. I had no choice but to wear the ruined jacket in front of everyone. The moment I stepped onto the stage, people noticed my school uniform. Whispers and chuckles quickly spread through the crowd. Someone laughed. "Is that the guy who jumped from the bottom? Must have cheated." Another added, "Look at his jacket, scribbled all over. Typical delinquent." I glanced at the students below and gripped the mic tightly. Then, the show-off system spoke up, its voice buzzing with excitement. "Now, start with a fluent English opening." I was speechless. An English opening? Of course the show-off system would suggest something like that. I'd been studying non-stop for a month. The system even took away my sleep and gave me energy potions from my personal space to force-feed me listening practice and spoken drills. At this point, I could directly translate my entire speech into English. I'd learned nearly 10,000 new words in the past month. Clenching my teeth and pushing down the awkwardness, I began the first paragraph in English, with a thick Chinese accent. All the students were stunned, even though I spoke slowly, and my accent was obvious. One academic top student whispered, "Holy crap, isn't that a quote from Tim Cook's speech? He's actually fluent. His English sounds like he could survive abroad without a hitch." Kinda show-offy. but impressive. The system was thrilled. Perfect. The mood is set. Remember, host, you're not ordinary. Its tone became even more excited when I realized no one was laughing at my uniform anymore. I finally began to speak the things I truly wanted to say. I said, everyone used to think my bad grades were because I didn't care about studying, that I was born a troublemaker, lazy, hopeless. Let me explain. I didn't study before not because I didn't want to. It's because I didn't have the conditions to, while your parents were watching over your homework. I was 5 years old, standing on a stool to cook for my family. During your winter and summer breaks, you were in tutoring classes or traveling the world. I was running from street to street, trying to sell 5 yuan pancakes, and if I didn't sell enough, I got beaten. You had quiet study environments and access to learning materials, but when I got home, not only did I have tons of chores, I paused, then rolled up the sleeve of my school jacket. This had always been a deep pain in my heart, one I buried carefully. On my arm were crisscrossing scars, ugly, raised marks twisted across my thin forearm, looking like long centipedes, ghastly and heartbreaking. I said, sometimes. I even got beaten. Gasps echoed throughout the crowd below the stage. Everyone had lifted their heads to look at me. At home, I was beaten by my stepmother. At school, I was bullied because I was small, quiet, and had no one to protect me. These scars were the proof of a life that had truly been lived. It was in the despair of those endless days that I once thought of giving up entirely. In the front row, Willow's pupils dilated. The pampered daughter of a wealthy family actually looked shocked. I said, I'm incredibly grateful to be studying here. This school has great teachers and an excellent learning environment. I'm also grateful to my classmates for giving me a friendly school life. From now on, I will seize every opportunity one have and keep working hard. Even if there's no road beneath my feet, I'll step on thorns and carve out a path of my own. I lifted my head and gave everyone an honest smile, and the whole auditorium broke into thunderous applause. After the assembly, I was no longer a target for bullying. My story had inspired too many. Even Willow seemed to feel a little guilty when she saw me. But of course, this prideful girl would never admit it. Blushing, she stammered, you really had it that bad at your adoptive parents' place? I didn't know. I nodded absently while flipping through my vocabulary book. The system chimed in. Detected, Willow's favorability +10. Would you like to convert it to another stat, say, memory retention? Convert it. Absolutely convert it. Right after the conversion completed, Willow, still standing in front of me with bright red ears, suddenly furrowed her brows. Her lips pressed into a sharp line as she snapped. But so what if your life sucked? It's not like Makoto did it. It has nothing to do with him. Wow. The system really works fast, I replied. Willow hesitated, then asked, don't you have anything else to say? I said, actually, I do. Her lips twitched, and the flush on her ears nearly spread to her pretty little face. Her eyes softened slightly, the corners tilting down. The system whispered, favorability +10 again. Should we? I answered immediately. Convert. I grinned and added, I ranked 25th this time, and you're now dead last. Hee hee. Just as I expected, her face instantly changed color. Her cheeks, flushed moments ago, now looked like frost-covered apples. Humph. She huffed, and stormed off without another word. The system, sounding amazed, reported, whoa, her favorability just went up another 5 points. Chapter 4. I asked the system, wait, so favorability can actually be converted into study-related attribute points. What about other people's favorability? If that works, I could go dance on TikTok and rack up fans to boost my stats. The system gave a soft chuckle and replied, host, please stop daydreaming. Only favorability from people who have a close relationship with the original host can be converted into attribute points. Fine. So much for my dream of juggling schoolwork and going viral during fall recruitment season. Because I did well on the test, the teacher even called my parents to give them some positive feedback. But when I got home, I still wasn't recognized by the Wong family. Ever since my return, Makoto had been targeting me. The original me, timid and insecure, had already been deemed worthless by Father Wong. Father Wong was a very pragmatic man. It seemed like he didn't really love his children, he only evaluated their utility. Makoto was meticulous. Alicia was smart and graceful. They were exactly the kind of children he wanted. But since I had a history of being abused, I was timid in both speech and behavior. So, naturally, Father Wong didn't like the original me. Mother Wong was a housewife. Even if she felt sympathy toward me, she chose to side with her husband. She didn't dare show her own opinion. While we were eating dinner, Makoto just so happened to bring up my exam results. He said, I heard my brother ranked 25th in the class this time. That's a pretty insane jump, almost miraculous. Well, I do have a system, so yeah, it is a miracle. Makoto drew out his words, half smiling, then said, Bro, you didn't cheat, did you? I mean, doing badly is fine, but if you cheated, that would bring shame to the family. I'm just worried, you've just come back, and maybe you don't really understand how things work. His tone sounded almost like he was giving me friendly advice. Before I could say anything, the system exploded in my head. Damn, Makoto, you are such a manipulative little snake. If I weren't a system, I'd rip your mouth open right now. The next second, it calmed itself and said, Host, don't rip him just yet. You'll lose character points. Focus on your mission. Once it's done, you'll get your chance to crush him. I was speechless. Alicia paused briefly, her eyes flitting toward me, then she looked away like nothing happened. I couldn't help but think, what are you looking at? What's it got to do with you? Father Wong lifted his head at Makoto's words. His expression was cold, and his tone interrogative. Makoto has a point. Was your test result real? Everyone at the table turned to stare at me. I answered. No, it wasn't. Makoto immediately smiled. Alicia frowned slightly, but in the next second, I continued calmly. I didn't perform that well. I'm aiming to rank number 1 in the class for finals. Makoto raised his voice, shocked. That's impossible. You used to be at the bottom of the class. I smiled and said. That's why I've been studying hard lately. You can check my room if you want. I've already finished 10 practice books. That's right, this showing off feeling was amazing. Mother Wong quickly tried to smooth things over. She said, that's true. I often see George studying, too. Father Wong's face slowly relaxed. He muttered, let's hope so. At that moment, Alicia spoke up. She gave a cold snort and said, I happen to have 2 practice test sets. Dare to finish them and show me. The system groaned. Oh great, now she wants to show off. I was beginning to realize this show-off system really loved to complain. Maybe at the beginning, when it was first bound to me, we weren't in sync, but now that we'd spent some time together, the system complained every single day. Sure, I nodded. After all, I knew Alicia didn't really want to give me the papers. She just wanted to check whether I'd cheated. But whatever, let her check. I wasn't scared. I decided I'd skip sleep tonight. Right now, even my sleeping time was spent in the system space, studying, for the sake of becoming number 1 at the end of the semester. I was all in. The system chimed in. Host, don't forget, one of your side missions is to earn a national athlete certificate. So, what sport do you plan to train in? Personally, I'd recommend long-distance running. Quick results, though yeah, kinda miserable, I replied. Then let's go with long-distance running, the system said. Long-distance training task activated. From now on, you'll run to school every day. Okay. I frowned. You mean I have to run all 15 kilometers to school, with a 5-kilo backpack on my back? The system responded cheerfully. No, your load isn't 5 kilograms. It continued. First month, 5 kilograms. Second month, 10 kilograms. Go George, go. You've got this. I clenched my teeth and muttered. System, I would very much like to respectfully greet your mother right now. Chapter 5. My current life, pure suffering. Every morning, I watched Makoto and Alicia ride to school in a luxury car, while I had to run 15 kilometers, with weights. The system said seriously, endure the pain, and you shall reign supreme. But I had to admit, in just a month, my physical condition had improved significantly. I'd gone from skinny and scrawny to muscular and agile, to complete the National Athlete Certificate mission. The system suggested I sign up for the school sports training program. That's how I ended up face to face with Willow in the gym. She was wearing a tight, form-fitting training outfit. Her skin was fair and smooth, and the lines of her legs were toned and athletic. She rolled her eyes and said, George, what stupid trick are you playing this time? I asked the system, hey, what's your honest opinion of Willow? The system snorted, Pfft, she's nothing special. Willow saw me staring blankly, not responding, and probably assumed I was looking down on her. Her ears flushed red, and she bit her lip. You still have feelings for me, don't you? Even though I'm your fiancé now, my heart will always belong to Makoto, the system muttered. She's completely delusional, and her favorability score somehow still went up. I said, convert it. Now, I dumped the new attribute points into explosive power. Willow was technically part of the track and field team too, but she only showed up to avoid classes. I, on the other hand, officially began my training with the team, but it didn't go well. Most of the team thought I was some new guy chasing after Willow, especially after everything she'd said. They all assumed I was just another simp trying to get close to her. Makoto didn't help either. He often came to pick Willow up for lunch, dropping vague hints that I had ulterior motives toward his girl. So, the team started to alienate me, spreading rumors, giving me the cold shoulder, but they didn't do anything worse. I kept my mouth shut and trained like hell. My chance to prove myself came with the upcoming citywide athletic meet. The coach needed to pick someone from the team to represent us. The system pushed me. Turn in the registration form. Do it now. As soon as I did, chaos broke out. The moment I submitted it, it was like a war had started. Competition and long-held resentment exploded. The team cornered me in the locker room. Makoto was there, too. Someone snapped. You just got here. What gives you the right to submit that form? The team captain shoved me, eyes blazing. You're just here because of Willow, right? Now you're trying to steal a spot in the city meet too. Makoto added fuel to the fire. Bro, just withdraw. You can't compete with guys who've trained for years. I replied calmly. Isn't it a team competition? Whoever wins the trial goes. I just submitted the form. But hey, what if I lose? The captain was momentarily speechless. I asked. Or, are you guys just afraid I'll beat you? I gave the whole team a skeptical look. The captain quickly shook his head. Of course not. We've been training way longer than you. I shrugged. Then what's the problem? What they didn't know was that I ran 15 kilometers every day. But Makoto knew. He sat in his Benz and watched me grind every morning. Seeing the captain hesitate, Makoto got anxious. No way. What if he's secretly been training? We should just break his legs now and settle this. The second he said that, the room went dead silent. We were all stunned. The captain stared at him, speechless. Dude, that's insane, he muttered. Even the system was stunned. He's actually lost it. Chapter 6. Naturally, no one took Makoto's suggestion seriously, but his slip of the tongue did cost him some supporters around school. The system commented coldly, ignore Makoto, he's just a clown, then added, remember this, host, your goal is always to become stronger, to fight on bigger battlefields, where the real resources are. After submitting the registration form, the track competition was about to begin. Of course, I didn't end up competing. That morning, Makoto drugged my drink. I spent the entire morning in the bathroom with diarrhea. I was speechless. I asked, System, why didn't you stop him? The system smiled faintly. Why would I stop him? I never planned for you to compete in this event. She added, besides, Willow saw him spike your drink. Her favorability toward you just went up again. Don't worry, I already converted it into stat points. Who cares about the affection of a pretentious coquette like her anyway? Turns out, the school training was just a cover. The system had already used big data to find a high-level training base for me. I directly registered for the provincial competition under the name of the training center. As long as I placed in the top rankings, I could qualify for a national level 2 athlete certificate. I sighed. System, you're evil. You know that. She snorted. George, do you know what the highest level of showing off is? It's when you pretend to suck, and then flip the table and slap everyone in the face. I followed the plan. Thanks to my attribute boosts and brutal training, I got a pretty solid result. While I was waiting for my national athlete certificate to arrive, Makoto started spreading rumors about me. In a weird way, I had to admire his energy. If only he used it for something productive. The system mused. I've found the perfect career path for Makoto. Don't you think he'd make a fantastic internet troll? Maybe if he stopped targeting you and just focused on being a full-time hater, he could finally find his true self, Makoto said to a group of his buddies. That simp claims he's training for sports. Please, he's obviously just trying to get close to Willow. She's my girl. Like she'd ever fall for him. What a joke. I was just about to retort when a voice came from outside the classroom. It was Willow. Stop talking nonsense, she said coldly. I don't like George. That's true, but he's also never said he liked me. George is not a simp. She glared. George really has been training for athletics. And as for why he didn't compete in the last meet, Makoto, I think you know the answer to that. She rolled her eyes and shot Makoto a glare of pure disdain. Makoto's face went pale like he'd been struck by lightning. He stood there, stunned, clearly shocked that Willow would speak up for me. The others started looking at me and Willow suspiciously, as if there really was something going on between us. Makoto clenched his jaw. George, damn, you've got guts. With one final glare, he slammed the door and stormed out. Sensing the shift in the room, I immediately tried to distance myself. They're just having a lover's quarrel. It's got nothing to do with me. I don't even talk to Willow at school. I don't even have a phone. I raised my hands, playing the innocent card to perfection, just as people were still wondering if my sports training had some ulterior motive. The school bell rang. Our homeroom teacher walked into the classroom, holding something in his hands. George, he called out, your national athlete certificate has arrived. Come to the podium and pick it up. Yes, sir. The whole class went dead silent. In the back row, Willow scoffed and said proudly, see, that's what real sports training looks like. She added, with a smug smirk, if you said he wasn't serious about it, you owe yourselves a double face slap. The system chuckled. Bravo. Host. Another flawless flex successfully delivered. Chapter 7. Having completed another phase of my mission, I gained a massive amount of attribute points. Makoto was left utterly humiliated. He seemed to realize he could no longer damage my reputation at school. But there was still one battlefield left, the Wang family. Alicia and Makoto were very close. Even though Alicia was my biological sister, she clearly favored Makoto, the fake brother. I once asked the system, puzzled. Why does Alicia treat Makoto better than me, even though I'm her real brother? The system scoffed. Oh, host, you're really slow sometimes. You are the real son of the Wang family. Makoto isn't. Think about it, she's afraid you'll inherit the family fortune. She continued. Host, remember this, you're not here to beg for love or respect. Once you have power and money, those things will orbit around you on their own. It hit me like a light bulb. Back when I didn't have the system, I used to fantasize about gaining my sister's approval. What a joke. When I got home, I thought maybe, just maybe, earning a national athlete certificate would earn me some praise from Father and Mother Wang. Instead, Father Wang said coldly, I heard about it from Makoto. As a member of the Wang family, you shouldn't waste time on things like that. Your only job is to study hard and avoid embarrassing us. Just look at your sister, she ranked first in the entire school again. And she's also entering the physics Olympiad. The system piped up. Host, enter the Olympiad too. We'll crush them. I've got expert instructors ready for you in my training space. Starting now. With the system backing me, I didn't take Father Wang's harsh words to heart. I returned to my room silently and began studying physics inside the system space. While immersed in formulas and concepts, I quietly thanked the system. System, I'm really glad you're here. Without you, I'd probably still be stuck wondering why my dad doesn't value me. The system replied, there's no need to wonder. If your father can't appreciate how brilliant you are and chooses to raise someone else's kid instead, it means he's both pathetic and stupid. Then she added, but you still have to work hard. Host, only when you complete your missions can I gain energy, and that, in turn, gives you more attribute points. It's a win-win partnership. I started feeling curious about the system. I asked, System, why did you choose me out of everyone in the world? The system chuckled, because you have the best story arc potential. A tragic backstory, constant setbacks. If you become strong enough, your narrative screams epic comeback. The more inspiring your journey, the more energy I gain. She continued, we're beings from a higher plane, different from you. I chose the profession of system, by intervening in the lives of people from lower planes like yours. We entertain some viewers, we get tipped, and we gain energy. Each system has a different energy model. Mine comes from you completing tasks. I became even more intrigued. So you're a higher plane life form. What do you look like? The system answered, clearly brushing me off. Roughly humanoid, but more evolved. We have tentacles. You couldn't imagine it even if you tried. Now stop asking and go study your physics. It was obvious she didn't want to talk about herself, so I put my head down and got back to work. I really was grateful for her. I made up my mind to study even harder, so she could earn more energy, and I could become even stronger, with boosted memory and comprehension. My learning efficiency skyrocketed. Given time and grinding, I mastered the Physics Olympiad syllabus. Then, I signed up for the competition. Chapter 8. Alicia and I were placed in the same Olympiad class. When Alicia saw me, a flicker of wariness passed through her usually indifferent expression. She said coolly, you don't have a solid foundation. You're not cut out for the Physics Olympiad. Don't waste your time. The system chimed in, don't listen to her, she's just afraid you'll surpass her. Then it said, here, let's activate a top-tier tutor code bundle. I replied, thanks, you're the best. She responded, everything I give you is exchanged with the energy you've earned for me. With the system's support, I surpassed Alicia effortlessly. She didn't show it on the outside, but inside she was clearly rattled. Day and night, I studied relentlessly. The system could boost my intelligence and even manipulate time, but it couldn't work hard in my place. Alicia was panicking, but there was nothing she could do. My grades steadily climbed above hers. The teacher, seeing we were siblings, had us team up to represent our school in the National Olympiad. Alicia rolled her eyes and said, don't drag me down. The system retorted, the nerve. She's just a decorative sidekick. I smiled humbly. There are countless geniuses in the world. Once I reached the competition, I realized that while Alicia seemed impressive at school, in the national arena, she was actually holding me back. If I hadn't had the system's help, I might have failed too. Luckily, I won a gold medal representing our province. This medal grants direct admission to a prestigious university. The system said, congratulations, host. With this gold medal, you won't have to take the college entrance exam. I asked, didn't you give me a mission to be ranked first in the city's college entrance exam? The system replied gently, You've been studying so hard lately. I figured a directed mission would be better for you. Don't overwork yourself. The system actually cared about me. Honestly, I had been losing a lot of hair lately. My brain had been running non-stop. I was turning into a total slowpoke. The system and I were soaking in the joy of winning the medal. But then a thought hit me. The system's ultimate mission for me was to rank first in the college entrance exam. If I didn't take the exam, would the system disappear? I decided to ask, will you stay with me forever? Without the system, I wouldn't be who I am today. I felt oddly attached to it. The system fell silent for a moment, then quietly said, we operate on energy values. I've almost reached the full amount from you. Once it's full, I'll have to leave. The moment I heard that, a wave of sadness surged in my heart. I wasn't ready to let go. The system had been both mentor and friend to me. Selfishly, I wished the energy bar would never fill up. Maybe then the system could stay forever. But I quickly dismissed that thought. I couldn't hold it hostage with my desires. Sensing my sadness, the system said, hey, don't get so down. We were never from the same world, but we accompanied each other for part of the journey. Helped each other grow. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I'll even tell you my real name. I'm not actually called System. You can call me Whoa Girl. Is that even a real name? I was speechless. The system and I bantered for a while. Whenever we talked, I'd go a little blank on the outside. But soon, someone interrupted the atmosphere between us. Chapter 9. It was Father Wong. As my so-called father, this was the first time he summoned me to the study. This room symbolized the family's power and resources. I thought maybe he had finally decided to give me a share of the Wong family's assets. The aging patriarch sat on a dark leather sofa, his voice firm and cold. He said, there's a guaranteed admission spot at your school. I've already spoken with the principal. We're giving it to your sister. This way, she can start college a year earlier and help out at the company. Don't feel slighted. I'll transfer 300,000 yuan to your account. Go buy yourself a decent car. Father Wong studied me with a look that brooked no disagreement. Alicia, who stood to benefit, sat arrogantly to the side without even sparing me a glance. I said nothing, but the system in my head was about to explode. It snapped. Are they insane? What's 300k worth compared to the value of that directed mission? Even 3 million wouldn't cut it. It fumed. They're stealing your success and making it look like they're doing you a favor. I can't take this. What kind of trash father is this? I muttered. It's no use saying no. Father Wong clearly already settled it with the higher-ups. The system replied, why should they rob you of what's rightfully yours? Who needs this scumbag father anyway? Host, go confront them. I'll temporarily boost your combat power. Go give each of them a solid slap. I was speechless. I looked at my so-called father and sister. It all felt so pointless. I said, I want to sever ties with you. My household registration was never transferred over from my foster mother when I came to the Wong family. I want nothing to do with you lunatics. My voice didn't even waver. The system cheered. That's my George. Cut ties with these toxic people. Maybe it was my flat tone, or maybe the contempt in my expression. Father Wong couldn't tolerate the lowest-ranked person in the family daring to defy him. His eyes widened, and with a loud smack on the armrest, he shot to his feet. He reached out to hit me, shouting, you ungrateful brat. You think we wanted to bring you home? If it weren't for the optics, a good-for-nothing raised by nobodies like you has no right to stand before us. I sneered. You say I was ruined by being raised by outsiders. Then how do you explain your son losing to me in every exam? Or your daughter needing to steal my Olympiad spot? Sounds like the real failures are your biological kids. The moment those words left my mouth, Alicia lunged at me and clawed at my face. The sharp sting from her nails tore a hiss out of me. Whoa girl snapped. Rip them apart. Let's convert all stored energy into combat power. In a flash, I felt strength surge through every inch of my body. As Alicia reached for my face again, I punched her squarely. Crack! I felt her face collapse under my fist. The next second, she dropped straight to the floor. I roared. Sever all ties, or I swear I'll report you. I want nothing to do with this rotten family. I held up my fist. Father Wong took a step back, voice trembling but still trying to sound tough. He said, I'll get someone to handle it. From now on, you're no longer part of the Wong family. Wiping off my knuckles, I replied. No one ever wanted to be part of it. As I stepped out of the study, I ran into Makoto. He was standing there smugly, a mocking smile on his face. So you finally fell out with father. Huh? Well, good. Saves me the trouble of kicking you out. Straightening his clothes, he quickly put on an expression of exaggerated grief. I watched him rush into the study and scoop up Alicia, calling out dramatically, Big sis, are you okay? Big sis. I muttered. Shouldn't the first thing be calling 911? Chapter 10. After leaving the Wong family, I tried calling the system. I called several times before it finally responded, very slowly. Its voice was weak. Whoa girl said, quit yelling. I used up too much energy. I asked, Because you converted energy into combat power for me. I felt a bit guilty. Whoa girl replied, in a society governed by law, systems aren't supposed to promote violence. I broke the rules and got penalized. I asked, what kind of penalty? The system whispered, just lost 2 of my tentacles. It's fine. They'll grow back. I might even give them to you as a souvenir someday. The more she talked, the guiltier I felt. I hadn't felt bad earlier, but hearing she was actually hurt, that stung. I said, send me more tasks right now. I'll do them all and recharge your energy. The system went quiet again. I could hear her softly hissing in pain. After leaving the Wang family, I took my ID and some cash. I went out to find a place to stay. The system and I walked along a busy street. The night sky draped in ink, with a bright full moon hanging above. Gentle moonlight spilled onto the pavement. Calm and serene, I walked in silence, talking to the voice in my head. Whoa girl, don't be upset. I may have lost the Olympiad guaranteed admission, but I'm out of that crazy Wang family. And this way, I get to take the college entrance exam and earn first place in the city, for your energy. Her annoyed voice came through. Wasn't I just trying to make things easier for you? That's why I set the goal to end at the direct admission. Do you really think it's easy to get first place in the city's college entrance exam? You already study 18 hours a day. I'm worried you'll burn out. Even though she sounded angry, I knew she was just worried about me. I chuckled quietly. It's okay. I'm used to high-pressure study already. Whoa girl, just wait. I'll earn all the energy you need. She replied. Humph. Classic tsundere from Whoa girl. Alright then. Father Wang soon officially severed ties with me. The household registration book was finally mine. Of course, when he threw it at me, he still put on a show. Don't come crying back later. The Wang family won't welcome you again. As for my mother, of course, she chose to stand with him. She shed some pretty tears as I left, her voice trembling with concern. Just apologize to them. That'll be enough. I ignored her. Maybe she did love me, but it wasn't enough to make her stand up for me. After that, the system barely talked to me. With her energy so low, she could only speak to me for short periods each day. She couldn't boost my studying anymore. I had to rely entirely on myself. I still remembered the task the system had given me, to learn languages. So I chose Spanish and Portuguese. I followed online courses, watched lessons. The task didn't require fluency, just to learn. I squeezed in time whenever I could, hoping to help her recover more energy. After cutting ties with the Wang family, Willow came to see me once. Her face was as red as a ripe apple, glowing in the sunlight. She lowered her head, as if summoning all her courage, then spoke slowly and carefully. I know what Makoto did, and I know the Wang family has abandoned you, but I really admire your determination and hard work. I don't like the Liu family either, but I'm not brave enough to do what you did. If you don't mind, I'd like to help. My dad saw your grades. He said you have a bright future. He can help keep the Wang family from bothering you. Looking into her clear and sincere eyes, I let out a casual, "Oh, thanks." Willow instantly lit up, her eyes curving with delight. After a long silence, Whoa girl finally messaged me again. She gave a little snort and said, "That girl definitely has a crush on you." Her affection points just spiked. I replied, "Convert it to your energy." The system responded, "George, remember, don't get lost in romance. Once you succeed, you'll have girls lining up. No need to fall now." I couldn't help but chuckle. I said, "System, let me tell you a secret." She answered, "Don't tell me." You actually used to look forward to Willow. Yeah. Back when I just returned to the Wang family, no one in the house liked me. All I knew was that I had a so-called fiancé. I had naively wondered if maybe she'd be someone I could talk to. At the very least, a friend. Until that moment at school, when I opened the door and a bucket of filthy water came pouring down on me, freezing me to the bone, and I saw the disgust in my fiancé's eyes. That was when I realized how foolish it was to fantasize about others treating you kindly. I told this story to the system like a joke. I wanted to lighten the mood, maybe laugh a little with her. I waited for that sharp-tongued system girl to make fun of me, but she said, "That's not funny. George, if you were from my dimension, you'd have 8 tentacles. You could slap all of them senseless at once." Chapter 11. The Liu family really did make a move. They got the Wang family to stop bothering me. That gave me some peace and quiet to prepare for the college entrance exam. When the results came out, I had ranked first in the entire city. The moment I saw the score, I was on the verge of tears. Back when I first returned to the Wang family, I was so small and insignificant. Then the system appeared and told me, instead of exhausting myself trying to please others, I should focus on fighting on a higher dimensional battlefield. Now, this first place ranking could once again power up the system, but I also knew the moment of our parting was drawing near. What I didn't expect, though, was how brutal that parting would be. After the results were released, I became the center of huge attention. Media outlets wanted interviews. Business leaders reached out with sponsorship offers. Willow's father, ever the schemer, Dug up the fact that I had been kicked out of the Wang family and used it to fuel a smear campaign against them. All to publicly damage the Wang family's reputation and give the Liu family an edge after the engagement had been annulled. The internet exploded with criticism. Fake heirs passed off as real. Gold mistaken for scrap. The Wang family became a target overnight. But none of that had anything to do with me. I didn't care about the Wang family. I only cared about the system. Every day, I asked, "Whoa girl, when are you leaving?" She'd reply, "Why do you keep asking? Can't wait to get rid of me." I said, "It's not that. I just want to know, will I ever see you again?" She replied, "You should wash up and sleep early instead." Did the system not believe in us either? She told me not to daydream about things that had no future. Focus on the present. Don't be sad. Just keep moving forward. I shook my head and buried those thoughts deep down. Because of all the attention I was getting, and because the Wang family's reputation had taken a hit, their stock price even dropped. Makoto and Alicia decided to strike back, and they chose the dirtiest method. They plotted to frame me for sexual harassment. In today's society, even a genius can be destroyed if he's caught in a scandal like that. Just one accusation, and your name's ruined for life. No one will care whether it's true. It was disgusting, but it was effective. Neither the system nor I expected this. We never thought the spoiled children of a wealthy family would stoop so low. And so, unprepared, I was kidnapped, a blade pressed against my neck, and I forced myself to stay calm, to negotiate. I asked, "Look, man, what do you want? If it's money, I can pay you double whatever they're offering." The guy just laughed and pointed toward the woman waving from the couch. "Relax, bro. Just do what we tell you on camera, and you're free to go." I thought Whoa girl would snap. I thought her voice would boom through my head, swearing like usual, but instead, her voice was calm, serious, like she had made some huge decision. The cold, dim warehouse. 6 men with twisted expressions. They were saying filthy things, but I couldn't hear a word. All I could hear was the system. She said, "Transfer all remaining energy to George. Boost all host attributes to maximum. Beep, beep." She added, "I'm sorry, host. I can't stay with you any longer." Her voice disappeared, replaced by a flat, mechanical tone. "George, all attributes are now maxed out. Duration, 24 hours. My heart skipped a beat. I could see every single movement the men in front of me made, even the bloodlines running beneath their skin. I knew exactly where to strike if I wanted to kill. I stared at the tip of the blade in front of me, and tears started to fall. My system girl had left me. I grabbed the enemy's dagger, dodged all lethal points, and took all 6 of them down with precise, defensive moves. Half an hour later, I walked into a police station and handed over the evidence. Chapter 12. When the incident became public, Makoto and Alicia were arrested. Under immense public pressure, the Wang family collapsed, but Alicia was released on bail. That's when I learned Makoto and Alicia had been secretly sleeping together. She was already pregnant. I hadn't even gotten a chance to tell the system that I planned to enroll in the best physics program in the country. Even after she was gone, I never stopped improving myself. I kept studying. I kept moving forward, because the system had once told me, the purpose of life isn't to win the approval of others. Whether it's the main quest or a side quest, every path leads to one thing, self-evolution. During college, I joined a private group. The members shared their own stories about systems. I couldn't tell which were real and which were fake. I only spoke now and then, until one day, a woman approached me. Her eyes were clear, her voice gentle. "Hi, my name is Sophia. If you want to find your system again, you're welcome to join us." Extra chapter. "Anna, you failed all your tasks this time. You brought 0 energy back to the core. You're getting punished. You're down to your last 2 tentacles. Take care of yourself. We've told you, don't get emotionally attached to your host. We collect energy. We're not some kind of saviors. Honestly, I don't think you're cut out for this job." The voice of a colleague echoed through a glowing blue space, filled with circuitry and humming processors. A girl with long hair lifted her head, her delicate face full of indifference. Behind her, 8 pale gray tentacles slowly lifted away from a keyboard, unfurling like an umbrella. Another voice said, "Enough. The core has reassigned you to the Department of External Affairs. Go make contact with other dimensions. Try to maintain peaceful relations." Anna wiped away invisible tears. A higher being like her wasn't supposed to cry, wasn't even supposed to feel anything. So why did her chest ache so badly? In this society, emotions weren't needed. Everyone carried out the core's assignments without feeling, without thought. And yet, Anna had once scored straight S ranks in every assessment. She walked into the punishment wing as usual, then reported for her new post at External Affairs. 2 of her tentacles were now useless, not for typing, just left to hang there, year after year, waiting for replies from other planes of existence. Anna shook her head. She felt like she was losing her mind. Choosing George had been an accident. She was new at the time, Picking hosts from a pool like pulling cards in a gotcha game. She had hoped for someone stronger, someone better. She got George, and she had personally helped raise him into an SSS-ranked talent. That George, who never stopped working hard, who always kept climbing forward. If only I could see him a little longer. But the technology here wasn't advanced enough to bridge the dimensions. Anna thought. And thought some more. Her tentacles slapped the unresponsive monitor in frustration. Smack, smack, smack. She made up her mind. She'd apply to the research division. Maybe, just maybe, there'd be a miracle. Just as Anna stood up, the computer beeped. A tiny sound, barely audible. But Anna's gaze locked on the screen instantly. Her heart skipped a beat. It was the first signal from Earth.